at least it's important that you trim your hair like once a month or every 2 weeks. So I take a blade that is very sharp, a new blade, recommended new blade, and I trim the extra hair that I've seen. You can also use a tweezer. I comb the hair down, the brow hair down again. Any extra hair that is there, I use the same blade to trim the ones that are longer, so that to keep the brow hair even. I come begin to see if the brow hairs are even. Okay, so I go to the brow bone area and I remove any hair that's around the brow bone area. Not all of it. If you look at when you want to draw your brows with a pencil, remember that the brow bone area is meant to have a pencil-like sharp edge. So I need to make sure that there are no hairs there. And while you're using your blade or your tweezers, you try and create the arc shape depending on how her natural brows are. Not everybody's brows has to be arced. It depends on how her natural brows are. So I take wipes. I use wipes to clean off the hair that has fallen into her eyes, so that it doesn't make her uncomfortable. So I do the same thing on the other area of the face. As I'm trimming her brows, I'm doing it softly. You look at how I'm doing it softly. I'm using the wipes to clean her face softly, because don't forget that you're also dealing with her skin. So you need to be very careful and you need to be soft. So now the brows are already shaped, so it's time for me to use a pencil. So because she's fair, I'm using a light brown. I use the brow brush to comb again, and I follow the shape of her natural brow. I try to make sure that I don't go beyond this line here. Use your pencil to determine that particular line. You see how the extreme end is? The extreme end is slimmer than the beginning. You now understand the reason why I had to remove the hair at the brow bone area, not all the hair, but at least that brow bone area, the hair there should be slim, so that when I'm using the pencil to give that sharp edge slim. So the brows are well drawn already. So I'm going to take a concealer 2 shades lighter than her shade to highlight our brow bone area. And to do that, I would use my angled brush. This is where your angled brush comes in. I go to the brow bone area and I apply the concealer. You just don't apply it anyhow. Follow the shape of the pencil that you have drawn. Then you blend it into the skin, blend the concealer, making sure that you do not lose the neatness that you have created, the neatness that you have been able to achieve using a concealer. You know, drawing the brows is like fine art. You have to keep it neat and don't lose what it is that you have created. So I'm blending the concealer. The concealer is already giving the brows a very good definition. So once I'm done with the downside, I go to the upper side and I use a concealer that is exactly her shade, exactly her color. I use it to clean out any mistake or any changes I want to make in the look, in the shape I want to create. I use the concealer. You can see what the angled brush is doing with the concealer. You can see the definition it's giving to the brows. So once I'm done with using the concealer, I'm going to set my concealer with a powder. Very important. I set the concealer that I've used with a powder that is 2 shades lighter than her shade on the down area. I set the upper part with her shade of powder, and I take the brow brush, go to the beginning of the brows, and I brush it. Very important, make sure you brush it. I do that to make the brows look natural looking and not like as if the face was just painted. So that's it for today's class. So join me in the next class.